I'm tired of mediocrity. What do I mean by that? For me, growing up through elementary school, middle school, high school, I was always told that I was a smart kid. And this was kind of a idea that was planted in my mind that I personally could have never imagined how infectious and problematic that this idea would eventually develop to become. And it sounds very innocent, kid's intelligent, let them know, dude, you're a smart kid, blah, 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 blah. Pass that test, you're doing really great. The problem with it for me was the association that started to build in my mind with my abilities and the necessary requirement of effort that I need to put in to develop those abilities further. Math, science, English, all of the above. I was always really good at going in and teaching myself the subject as quickly as I possibly could because I really valued my time as a kid, which looking back on it is kind of funny to think about. But I really valued my time and I didn't want to spend that time learning, regurgitating, solving problems, stuff that I didn't really enjoy. As a kid, my mom would always get really upset at me about this because she knew that I was able to do more. I knew that I was able to do more. I just didn't care enough. And this was something that my mom recognized from a very young age. And I think that there was a little bit of a conflict that began to develop between me and my mom because of this. Because I wanted so bad to excel at the things that interested me or that intrigued me. Some of these ideas being, as a kid, I loved robotics. I loved I watched Real Steel, loved that movie, and it inspired me to look into a lot of the BattleBot YouTube robotics that was going on where people were, disassembling Home Depot motors or drills and using the motors and RC units to create little BattleBot. I thought that was the coolest thing at 8, but there was no robotics class in elementary school, and my parents at the time didn't have the funding to be able to help me go buy a build a $200 robot. And so this association with being smart in my brain, it really started to crash and burn once I got to about middle school. Reason being is in 5th grade, I was placed in a advanced placement GATE program, I believe is what it was called. I believe it's a separate curriculum, or at least an accelerated curriculum in comparison to the rest of the other 5th graders. And I remember this weird feeling. It's like the walled garden in 5th grade. I remember being a 5th grader and going into this class on the first day of school and knowing oh my gosh, and the teacher's telling you this, hey, you are smarter than the other kids. Okay, maybe she didn't say that verbatim, but we're coming into this class and we're being they're letting us know, hey, you placed higher on this test. You guys have better test scores than everybody else. You guys have recommendations from previous teachers saying that, hey, you are excelling above other classmates. So we put you in a separate class. And there's only one class. There was only one of these classes that was an accelerated program. And so you go out to recess with your other 10-year-old kids and friends. And there's this weird superiority complex that starts building on the playground of, hey, I'm smarter than you. No, you're wrong with this because I'm in this class. And obviously, kid bickering, it's not the most serious thing on the planet. Nobody was brutally injured by us thinking that we were smarter than each other. But the problem then began to develop for me going into middle school because I was not placed into an advanced placement class after this, which was almost at the time, it was kind of soul crushing for my 11 or 12-year-old self, however old I was. Because I always had this association, my friends, my family, my grandparents, all my teachers, they're always saying, oh, he's such a smart kid. There's so much that he can do. And now I'm not with the smart kids. And it didn't really make sense to me. And, you go through 6th grade, 7th grade, I didn't really think about it too much. And then I get to 8th grade and, some of my other friends that I'm online playing with all the time, friends that I regard as being very intelligent that got put into these advanced placement classes are, they're going through algebra and pre-calc, going into freshman year. I believe they were able to take chemistry early to be able to go into AP Chem, and I didn't get to take chemistry until my sophomore year. And so I started to kind of feel this inferiority complex start to snowball over time. I didn't get into the advanced placement class in 6th grade, didn't really think too much of it. 7th, 8th grade, I noticed, oh my gosh, all my friends, they're in classes that are way beyond what I'm doing right now. I don't understand the homework that they're talking about. This weird complex started to build in my brain where I started feeling inferior to my good friends that I'm playing with every single night because I'm not as smart as them. I didn't get put into those classes. In the same way that I let being smart define me, almost losing that badge defined me even more. And I just kind of stopped trying after that. Going into high school, in my mind, I was like, hey, I'm already behind. All my friends that are going to go to big colleges, these like who I regard as being really intelligent individuals that I know are going to exceed expectations in the education system, I'm already way behind them. You know what I mean? If I want to get a scholarship, I don't see that happening. And so literally going straight into freshman year, I realized, hey, I don't care about this. Like, I'll pass, I'll get B's because my mom's going to yell at me if I don't, but I'm not going to try. And this started building even further problems for me because I get into high school, I start smoking weed, I stop caring about actually putting in effort towards things. And it wasn't until I picked up the guitar and I started diving into music and discovering a different type of voice for myself as an artist that I realized, oh my gosh, no, I am smart. But there's no such thing as smart. It's just taking what you have in front of you, caring about it, and making something out of it. And that's what I would always do. If you have a passion for something, if you love math, if you love writing, you're going to figure out a way to make a career in that passion. And we see this with different subjects in school. Some of my friends absolutely sucked at math. Some of my friends absolutely sucked at the sciences. I loved writing. Some of my friends fucking hated writing. So to each their own. Each individual person is going to find a way to use their brain, their intelligence, and their God-given gift on this planet to make something out of it. And then I realized that, my problem-solving abilities, my intelligence, whatever people want to frame it as, it is a superpower, and it's a superpower to each person. Each and every human being has something that intrigues them, something that they're passionate about, something that really makes them tick. And it's about finding that for each person. And for me, it wasn't any subject that I wanted to learn in school or that I was able to learn in school. And the most detrimental part of defining yourself as a smart kid, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate to this, a lot of very intelligent human beings, very successful people that have gone, in college now or on to, successful jobs. You're smart in high school, you're really good. You don't have to try super, super hard to get good grades or to achieve the goals that you're trying to reach. And then you're thrown into an environment that is entirely different than the curated one that you grew up with common school. You know what I mean? In elementary through high school, the teachers are there to help you. They're literally paid to get you to pass your classes. And if enough of their students are not, that's kind of a problem. When it comes to, say, college or any other field that comes after formal education, whether it's, you're going into the automotive field and now you're working in a shop, or for me, it was videography. And now I'm working with these different editors where, I have no idea what I'm doing in this field, but now I got to problem solve it. And the biggest problem is I never built the skill of learning. I never built the foundation of being bad at something, not knowing how to do it, because typically I'm able to do at least good enough to get by, C's, B's, A's, something like that. But when you're reaching a point that truly requires blood, sweat, and tears, you got to put in the fucking work. It's not going to come that easy. And if you want it to work, you better put in the time. And in those moments, I didn't have the skills necessary to develop myself. When things would get really, really difficult, I would just crash and burn because I didn't learn how to study. I didn't learn how to build attention blocks. That's kind of what I've learned it to be. I never developed the skill to parse out segments of my time and divulge maximum attention towards my goal. What I mean by that is taking 30, 40 minutes and being 100% effective. You know what I mean? No distractions. You were in flow state and really progressing yourself, whether you're studying, you're learning new material, whether you're memorizing material, you're trying to remember things prior, whether you're performing at a physical task, being able to intently put in your time and energy into being better at whatever it is. I never learned how to do that. And it took me longer than I would have hoped to learn how. So to round this back to mediocrity, I think that this is the correlating factor as to why I've never truly excelled at something. I am a person of multiple hobbies, and I feel like I've never pinpointed down into something where I can truly say I am excellent. I am above the crop. Whether it's video games, I've had friends that get fantastically good at one specific game. One game, just legendary. And I'm okay at every game because I can pick up, a new structure of rules and learn how to perform within it pretty quickly because I played a lot of games. But I don't have one specific one where I can say, you know what, I'm the fucking best at that. When it comes to music, even for me, I put a lot of time after high school into starting what I thought was going to be my career. And I still do love music. Music is such a big passion of not only mine, but it runs really deep within my family. But again, even with that, I'm okay at guitar. I started producing and I got all right at producing and mixing, and I learned the basics and the fundamentals of gear and music equipment and digital workstations, and I have a great foundation. And even when it comes to cinematography, I would argue that this is what I've put the most amount of time into. I've created a business out of it. I've been taking classes since I was in middle school for video media arts. I know how to use a camera. I know how to edit. I know how to do lighting and composition, but I'm not phenomenal at it. I'm all right. If we're comparing me to professionals that are working on full studio sets, fuck no, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I was able to teach myself a skill other people are looking for, and they're willing to pay me for how I'm able to produce results for them. And it's about time, I think, that we become excellent. The reason I'm making this video is I've been feeling mediocre ever since I left that 5th grade class, and I'm done with it. I know what I'm able to do. I know what I have done. But at this point, I've moved away from home. I've gone through a lot of different experiences that I never would have expected myself to. I think it's time to really hone in and just focus on what I can control. So I made this video for myself. I'm basically going to be treating my YouTube channel as kind of like journal entries, to me having a lot of fun with creative projects. The last video that I put out, America's Debt-Fueled Comfort Crisis, I love that. I had so much fun during the recording process, through the editing process, drafting it up, scripting. I felt like it was probably my first true YouTube project, one where I took it from the script all the way down to the export, really formatting everything out and making sure that it was an end goal that I was proud of, and I was very proud of it. But I have a lot more to come. I'm going to be posting a few more of these talking style videos just to get ideas out of my head and start building a little community online. So if you're liking what you're seeing here, if you heard anything that resonated with you, go ahead and subscribe. I did also actually just put out a brand new clothing line. I made like 2 different designs that I just have on a little Etsy shop right now. It's called Just Life Clothing. I want to use this brand as a representation of everything that I want to embody with my art. So that's not only getting outside of your comfort zone, making memories that last, inspiring others to do what they've always wanted to do, to chase their passions, to do what they think is impossible. If you're enjoying this and you want to support me and help me put out new videos like this and put a lot more time and effort into them, go ahead and grab a shirt. I think they're pretty cool. Other than that, really appreciate your time. Have a great one.